So here it is, the Trump tariff list that we've all been waiting for a couple of weeks now, and in truth it is a pretty big deal, laying down some very severe tariffs. That's import taxes on goods coming in, 20% on EU goods. That's everything that's made in the European Union and sent over here. Or rather, not quite everything, because there's two big categories that are excluded from this list of tariffs of things that are made in the EU. One of them is pharmaceuticals, and that's particularly interesting because that is the biggest, most valuable export from Ireland to the United States. It's about 2/3 of the value of all the things that we export to the United States. That is excluded from this 20% tariff list. Microchips are another thing that are excluded from the tariff list of things imported into the United States, and energy products, notably oil. So things that the Americans want and need badly in their industry, they've been excluded from this, even if they're made abroad in places like the EU or to some extent China. Also things coming from Canada and Mexico, unless they're automobiles or aluminium and steel products, they are also excluded from this. So that trade agreement, that free trade agreement between Canada and Mexico does appear to be excluded from this tariff list. Another thing that caught my eye, the tariffs being applied to the former EU state, Britain. That's only 10%. That's half of the rate that applies to European Union products. Interesting there, because one of the justifications that President Trump has used in setting out these very high tariffs for the EU is not that the EU charges very high tariffs, it's because it charges VAT, which he says is effectively an extra kind of tariff on American products. Now, of course, we all know that VAT applies to everything that's sold in Europe, whether it's made in Europe or made outside of Europe, but the president disagrees with that. In Britain, they also operate VAT and operate many of the EU import regulations as well, and yet they've been given a lower tariff rate. So maybe a little bit of political mischief making going on there by the president. How this is going to play out remains to be seen. It is a huge move, a really, really big deal. Nobody's done anything like this, whacking huge tariffs on basically the entire world in terms of what they sell into America. How the different countries are going to respond to this is going to be quite fascinating and quite tense in the coming weeks and months ahead.